So in this video I'm going to go through my experience with and as the Fandom Menace. The Fandom Menace was a huge reaction to the movie The Last Jedi from Star Wars fans. And I say I was the Fandom Menace because I was part of it. I was one of the people who was flipping out over how bad The Last Jedi was. And I was making videos about it, and I was watching videos about it non-stop, and I was commenting non-stop. My channel never got big, but I was active in the whole thing. Now, who am I? I'm basically a 46-year-old who lives in his parents' basement. Basically. My two heroes as a 4-year-old were Superman and Luke Skywalker. In fact, my father got me a copy of the Return of the Jedi when I was 4 or 6 years old. I was born in 77. He got like a bootleg, not a bootleg, but it had time code on it, right? My dad worked in the industry, and he got a copy of. So I was the only kid in town with a VHS copy of the last Return of the Jedi while it was still in the theaters. Now for a bit about the prequels. When they were announced, I saw the first trailer, I was having dreams about what it could possibly be because I was just so damn excited. And first of all, my second favorite character in Star Wars is the Emperor, and always has been. Like, he's a hero, and it's okay to have a hero who's a villain because it's fiction, okay? In real life, of course, I wouldn't want to have the Emperor over to dinner anymore. I love the Three Stooges. I wouldn't want them to fix my plumbing, right? It's okay to love a villain. So when the prequel trilogy came out, I was just happier than hell because I was seeing one of my favorite characters, Darth Sidious, Emperor Palpatine, essentially be the main character of the thing. I mean, can you imagine my joy at seeing the same actor, one of my favorite characters, who I didn't think was very popular with other people. So it was highly likely that he might not have been a main character in the prequels. So yeah, there were annoying things about the movies. They had major problems, but I don't care, right? All is forgiven because you connected the story together, and I got to see some of my favorite characters come back, and blah blah blah. Now, before I get into the Force Awakens, I'm going to say that when I saw the Star Trek remake with Chris Pine, directed by J.J. Abrams, I didn't like it at all. I said it was a Star Wars movie. It was supposed to be Star Trek, and they turned it into a Star Wars movie. It was way too theatric, way too dramatic. I was like, J.J. Abrams should direct a Star Wars movie, not a Star Trek movie. And yeah, I regret saying that at the time because that didn't turn out to be a good idea. Mind you, I didn't really know who J.J. Abrams was. I just knew that it felt like a Star Wars movie. It's that Star Trek piece of crap movie. So then Disney buys Star Wars, right? And they announced they're going to make 3 movies. And of course I'm excited, hopefully, hopefully optimistic, cautiously optimistic. And but I mean, the story was already told. Like, I feel like the six episodes were pretty much complete. Like, there wasn't more story there. But the first thing that worried me was when they announced that they were going to make 3 movies, and they were going to make them like one each year. Like, the next one was going to come a year after they bought the company, and then the next one a year later. And I'm like, so you're not even going to take your time to make sure they're good. You're just going to you know what I mean? You're going to just churn them out like a product. That scared me. And in hindsight, I realized, what they should have done. What they should have done was they should have had a Rey movie. And then at the end in the end credits, after, just like Marvel, in the end credits of the Rey movie, you have Leia show up and say, we need your help. And then you can have a Finn movie, and then at the end you have Han Solo show up in the end credits saying, "Kid, we need your help." And then you have like a Poe Dameron movie, and then in the end credits you have Luke show up and say, "We need your help." And then that just like increases, it just builds all this anticipation, and it gives the writers time to write an actual story for the main event. And during those three movies, the Poe movie, the Rey movie, and the Finn movie, you could have you could also be building up the threat of the dark side. You could be building up the threat of what's his face, you know, Kylo Ren, the guy who keeps Darth Vader's underwear in his drawer. He sniffs Darth Vader's underwear. And two last thoughts. The Force Awakens as a title could have worked if what it meant was that the Force is suddenly, for some reason, getting stronger. The Force in general is just getting stronger. And then that would excuse everybody's amplified Force abilities. It would excuse Rey's sudden ability to use the Force stronger than anybody else ever. Because the Force, for some reason, is getting really, really strong. And my other thought is just the irony that the titles of the three sequel trilogy movies would be better applied to each other. So, for example, The Force Awakens would be a better title for the 9th movie. The Last Jedi might be the best title, the title for the second, the first movie. I forget my rationale for that. The Rise of Skywalker could have been the 7th movie, because Luke Skywalker shows up. So when the Force Awakens came out, I thought it was terrible. I realized immediately that it was just I don't know what you would call it, a plagiarized version of A New Hope. But the final scene with Luke Skywalker filled me with A New Hope, because I couldn't wait to see Luke Skywalker kicking some butt. So for the next year, I was just bated breath. I had dreams about what Luke Skywalker was going to do when he came back. And I must have watched that last scene of, what was it called? The Force Awakens. I must have watched that final scene with Luke 1,000 times. And it made me cry. It made me, it filled me with sentimentality and good feelings. Now, I am a sucker for spoilers. I just admit defeat, because I will always check out the spoilers, because I just can't wait. So I was checking on all the spoilers for The Last Jedi before it came out, and it was all bad. It was all bad. So I gave up on it. I wasn't going to go to the theater to see it. And I guess I watched a bootleg version while it was in the theaters, and my rage was incredible. And that's when I took to YouTube. I already had a YouTube channel, but I started making videos about my hatred for The Last Jedi, and I started commenting on numerous YouTubers' channels who were also outraged about The Last Jedi. Now, the first YouTuber I remember encountering went by the handle Darks Novia, and he was filled with rage, and it was really enjoyable to hear him rant about The Last Jedi. And I even joined him on a online video that he made, where we talked about how much we hated The Last Jedi. And in fact, I mentioned to him that this channel, Geeks and Gamers, what a stupid title his channel is, Geeks and Gamers, because I'm like, well, where's the gaming? I haven't heard, he doesn't make any videos about video games, so why does he call himself Geeks and Gamers? And Dark Novia made a big chuckle out of that. But he basically said, I'm done with Star Wars, and I'm not even going to make videos about Star Wars anymore. I'm just going to move on. I'm just going to read the Star Wars novels. And he basically just quit YouTube, because he was and he was, before me, he was just he started to see through all the Fandom Menace people, and how they're just they just want clicks, right? And they're just making the same video over and over again because they know it gets clicks. Which, of course, is the danger I've learned of having a YouTube channel, especially a popular YouTube channel, because you start to tailor make your videos not according to what you want to make a video of, but according to what you know will get you clicks. Now, The Last Jedi, I wouldn't say they painted themselves in a corner as so much as they painted themselves into oblivion with The Last Jedi. So Star Wars was dead after that. And I'll punctuate that by not even talking about The Rise of Skywalker, because there's no point. And I'm not going to talk about anything Star Wars related because there's no point, because it was dead after the Last Jedi. So I'm going to talk about this guy, Geeks and Gamers. The douchebag calls himself Jeremy. And at first I enjoyed his videos because I enjoy the hatred towards The Last Jedi. I love hating something that, what do you call it? Like righteous indignation. What's the other term? Yeah, good trouble. The late John Lewis said, "Never be afraid to cause good trouble. Make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble." So I have no problem with ranting and trashing and bullying bad people, like the people that made The Last Jedi. And here's a picture of the dork Jeremy, Geeks and Gamers, who towards the end he started talking like a prophet. Like he stopped even talking like where he was just like as an equal to his viewers, but almost lecturing them. It was getting really gross. I'm sure he made a hell of a lot of money because his channel exploded. But it just became so repetitive, and the hatred became repetitive as well. And it was, okay, I'm not so sure you're actually trying to make a point anymore as much as you're just, you're making money and you're getting clicks. And also it's getting to your head, and I can see your ego getting inflated, and it's kind of ugly. And your ego shouldn't get that inflated over being a YouTube superstar, because it's not that big of an achievement in life, especially when all you're doing is geeking out. You're just geeking out. And at the same time as Geeks and Gamers was getting really popular, so was this channel called World Class BSers. And the main guy, he talks really, really fast, which I find very annoying. I don't trust people who talk very fast. He has a good voice, though. But again, it was a lot of just the same old thing. Every video was the same. Yeah, we hate The Last Jedi. Let's find new ways to make fun of The Last Jedi. And it was good and it was healthy for a while, because The Last Jedi really did make a lot of us sick, and we needed that kind of relief. It's like kids who used to listen to punk music or death metal. It's awful music. But the thing is, when you're being abused, you say your parents are abusing you, or you're in some terrible situation in your life, you need something like death metal to vent. So that's kind of like what these guys were for me. Oh, and here's a picture of the dude, the world-class BSer dude that talks really well and really fast. I didn't know he was a big, fat, ugly guy, but I guess you should expect that. And then there was this other guy, Ethan Van Sciver, who, when I started watching him, he had almost no followers. But by the time I stopped following him, he had like so many followers. And to his credit, he's actually a great comic book artist. His channel is Comic Book Artist Pro Secrets, I think. He started getting so YouTube famous. I remember when the Solo movie, the Han Solo movie came out, he did a live stream. And I counted all the money that he was getting from the super chats, and he must have made like, I forget what it was, but it was like $10,000 just in like 1 hour of live streaming. It was probably the best I've ever seen anybody, the most money I've ever seen anybody make on YouTube in 1 hour. It was right after the Solo movie came out. He started annoying me though too. He's the one who created the meme of Roundhead Ryan Johnson, which I was there. I was watching it when he thought of it, and he held up like a protractor to Ryan Johnson's face. And he's like, "Wow, it's like a perfect circle." But what killed him for me was when he said, he goes, "I'm gonna quit working for I forget, DC Comics, and I'm gonna start my own label because that's what I've always wanted, and I'm finally doing it." But he didn't give any thanks to his YouTube fans, the people who gave him all the money that enabled him to go at it on his own. And guess what, buddy? Like, a lot of people go about it on their own, right? You were a hack for 10 years because you sold out to DC Comics, right? You sold all, you were a sellout. Admit it. And don't pretend that all of a sudden you've got a sense of integrity and you're going to start your own like label, because you didn't just suddenly get integrity. You just got a lot of money from your YouTube. You got a full-time job from your YouTube career, and that's why you're going on your own. And he had some character called like Battletoads, Cyberfrog. That's why I call him Skyberfrog, because his name is Ethan Van Sciver, so I call him Skyberfrog. And it's this horrible idea of a cyber frog, and I'm like, Jesus, Battletoads did that. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles did that. It doesn't sound good at all. And you might be an excellent like artist in terms of visual artist, but you haven't proven your chops as a storyteller, so I don't see much of a future there. But I was very jealous because I kind of had wanted to do the same thing. I was hoping to explode on YouTube and then parlay that into selling my books, which was a huge blunder on my part, simply because having a successful YouTube channel that's a full-time job, and I just wanted to do it like willy-nilly. Here and there I'll just make a video, and I was hoping to get like 100,000 subscribers, but you can't achieve that if you're only doing it like whenever the hell you want and doing it on whatever topic you want. And if it's not a full-time job, you're not going to be able to do that. And furthermore, even if you do that, even if you got 100,000 subscribers, that's 100,000 people who enjoy your rants about Star Wars, but that's not 100,000 people who are going to want to buy your book. So you'd be better off just focusing on your book. If you're going to make videos on YouTube to try to further whatever career you're looking for, you should make videos about that career. So flash forward a bit, and then I found this channel, Nerdrotic, which I liked, and I liked the guy. I forget what his name is. The bearded guy. He's got a name. Anyways, I liked him for a while, until he started featuring this. Oh my God! Okay, let's just skip forward to this guy. Yeah, this dork came out calling himself Dictor von Doomcock. Okay. Now, first of all, that's a terrible name for yourself. Like, that is just so stupid. Secondly, he tried to like wear a stupid mask, so he's like cheaping out, like trying to do like a really cheap move to try to get views, and I guess it worked. And like saying he's like an underlord and he lives in the middle of the earth, and like this silly little shtick, this gimmick, which was ridiculous. He's quite intelligent, but he killed me when he made a video about celebrating the genius of Edgar Allan Poe, and because it was like the anniversary of Edgar Allan Poe's death. And I'm sorry, anybody who does that, okay, first of all, Edgar Allan Poe doesn't need your help. He's already the most famous person in all of literature. Okay? Doesn't need your help anymore. And also, you're kind of putting yourself on his level by even mentioning him, and you're not on his level. You're just a dork that researches comic book movies and exposes wokeness, right? That's all you do. You're not a poet, so shut up. He doesn't need your endorsement, and he'd probably be disgusted by your endorsement. It reminds me of when I was like 20, and some dork thought he was a goth, and he published a book of poetry, and he dedicated it to Edgar Allan Poe, and his name was Mitchell D. Kroll, and we always joke about how it's, quoth the Raven, Mitchell Poe. Quoth the Raven, Edgar Kroll. Because Mitchell D. Kroll obviously thought that he was Edgar Allan Poe. But the idea of dedicating your book to Edgar Allan Poe is got to be the stupidest thing. When you're dedicating your book to anybody when you're a nobody, like before you're even famous, is stupid. You shouldn't be dedicating your book when nobody's read it, or it's possible that nobody's going to read it. But then dedicating it to somebody who's dead, who you never knew, like a famous writer, like, and I'm dedicating my book to Albert Einstein. I'm dedicating my book to Jesus. Come on, dedicate it to your parents or your cat. But I bring him in because I unfollowed his channel after he did that stupid Edgar Allan Poe video. Because, buddy, just shut up. You know, how dare you go there? You don't belong there. So I don't. That's like a goddamn. I don't know. Hold on, somebody's calling. Anyways, so after that, I noticed I was still watching Nerdrotic, but then he started featuring and promoting Dichter von Doomcock, and that was the basis for me unsubscribing to Nerdrotic. And then these guys, these geeks and gamers and all of them, they're constantly whining about being called istophobes, right? And it's like, well, two things can be true at the same time. Like, Disney Star Wars can suck, as well as you being an istophobe, right? And then they feed each other, you know. Oh, you called me that, and then I'm going to act more like that, and then they called Disney Star Wars to DEI, and then they're like, we're going to be even more DEI now. And the South Park episode was very accurate. And by the way, the South Park episode about Kathleen Kennedy was also making fun of the anti-woke degenerates on YouTube. If I had my way, okay? If I had my way, every movie would be starring hot blonde supermodels. You know? I don't care. Make Thor, Wolverine, Captain America, Superman, make them all hot blonde supermodels. And lesbians. And to be honest, if I had my way, the only people that would be allowed to move to Canada, to live in Canada, which is where I live, would be hot blonde supermodels, female. But in reality, I know that's not the way it works. So I have to make concessions, you know, that's just reality. There are people who exist who are not hot blonde supermodels, and you can't just pretend they don't exist. And what scares the crap out of me is that it really is true that most of these people who hate Disney Star Wars, aside from me, are MAGA nuts. Like, they're completely bonkers. And you know, Disney Star Wars doesn't help by having everything be so unrealistically inclusive, like where the female is more powerful than the male. Like, that's just, it doesn't help. It doesn't help the left. I'm not even sure I'm on the left or the right. I don't even know. I don't know politics. I just know that Donald Trump's a moron, and I know that MAGA is insane, and they're bent on self-destruction, and I know climate change is real, and I know we're in a lot of trouble because of all these idiots. Oh, and I'd say that the real fate of these YouTubers is actually tragic, because there comes a point where people are just sick of them, where there's, you know, no movies for them to make fun of, where they've just, you know, their one-trick pony game is over and it's tired, and they kind of just get replaced by new haters. And also they just become victims of, you know, oh my god, I only got 1,000 views, I only got 10,000 views, I need to get more. I used to get 100,000 views, now I'm only getting 90,000 views. And then I think that they just obsess over that, and it takes over their lives. I was watching. I've been watching this one channel with this one guy. I think he calls himself like a WDW Pro or something, and he constantly is focused on Disney and what Disney's doing with all its, and very much against the whole DEI thing, which I think is misunderstood. DEI is not a bad thing. It's just the way Disney does it when they shove it down your throat. It's too much. But I mean, I think I'm a pretty level-headed person, and it is funny what Disney's doing. You know, like they're gonna make Snow White without dwarves. You know, and it's not a love. It's not about the prince rescuing the princess because she's an independent woman. Okay, well, why are you making Snow White then? She's called Snow White because her skin is white as snow. Yet you're casting a Latina. But anyways, this WDW Pro, I think that's what his channel is called. After the wonderful event that happened a week ago with Trump, you know, the ear event, that was my happiest. That's the happiest I've been in a long time because I hate that fat sack of crap. After that happened, the WDW Pro, he started making comments that were political, which basically exposed his MAGA reality, the truth of it, what he really is, a MAGA nut. And I was just like, okay, you're done. Can't watch you anymore. Like, I hate all this agenda crap. I think it's all BS. Disney Star Wars, when they put their poster for the Force Awakens, when they advertised it in China, they took John Boyega out of the poster because they know that the Chinese people don't like black people. So Disney is not inclusive. They're just posing. Their agenda has an agenda behind it. And at the end of the day, I don't even care if you've got an agenda that I'm against. If you make a good movie, I'm going to like it. And I've tried to concentrate on the actual quality of the movie rather than like getting all involved in like, oh, it's got too many ethnicities and it's trying to cater and it's trying to say that white people are trash. Like, forget about that. It doesn't even matter. You know, my father he actually went to the theater with my mother to see the last Indiana Jones movie because he was a fan of it, of the franchise. And he was just like, he said it was boring as sin. I think he remarked about how Indiana Jones just keeps getting punched by everybody all the time, like he's just such a wimp. That was his only comment. I don't really care if they're trying to empower women or something in their movie, but their movies have to be good. That's the bottom line. I'll tell you, my experience with the Dial of Destiny is that I watched the first 10 minutes and I watched the last 15 minutes and I thought it was a great movie. The Acolyte, I guess I'll put a picture up of it. The Ejaculate, as one YouTuber calls it. Well, before I talk about the Ejaculate, I guess I should talk about my experience with Disney Star Wars since The Last Jedi. I tried to watch The Rise of Skywalker. I think I watched it, or I skipped through it. It was awful. In every way, like every single way. Even Darth Sidious was awful. And it was predictable. It was like, okay, what are they going to do? They're going to, instead of one Death Star, they'll have 1,000,000 Death Stars, right? Because that's J.J. Abrams' whole formula, is to just make everything bigger, right? Okay, yeah. If we make 1,000,000 Death Stars, it'll be 1,000,000 times cooler. No, that doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, it was a mess. It was like they threw everything in the kitchen sink. In fact, it was not as if they threw the kitchen. They did throw everything in the kitchen sink at it, and it looked like that. It looked like a big mess where they just threw everything and just said, "Hey, you gotta like it. We got the Emperor back. We got 1,000,000 Death Stars." I think the first, what was it? Rogue One came out. I think I watched it. I don't really care. I don't even know if I watched it. I mean, that's kind of sad, isn't it? I don't even know if I watched it. Now, maybe it's because I was drunk, or maybe I had to be drunk to watch it. Um, and then there was like the Solo movie, which I never watched because I never liked Han Solo in the first place. Um, and then there was, I don't know if I'm missing something, like some other show or movie, but there was that what is it called, the Mandalorian, and I'm like, yeah, okay, this is fun, but I really only want to see Jedi. And second season, the Luke Skywalker scene, that was amazing. That was like the best thing that Star Wars has done since the prequels. That was amazing. Which is kind of sad because it just shows that they don't have anything, right? All they have is Luke Skywalker. They can't make anything else enjoyable. There was the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. I like that because I love Obi-Wan Kenobi. I love Darth Vader. I love Anakin Skywalker. That was good. It's still, Star Wars is still dead, but I mean, it's not like I'm paying for any of this. I'm downloading it on Pirate Bay. And then there was the Book of Boba Fett, which I hear was terrible. I think I watched it. I watched some of it. The Ahsoka Tano show, okay, sure. I don't know. I figured like it would appeal to people who are fans of Ahsoka Tano. I've never watched that show, Clone Wars, so I don't really know who she is. Okay, and then the Ejaculate comes out, and I'm just like, okay, look, yeah, I wish the main character was a hot blonde supermodel. I wish she was a hot blonde chick. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't like her if she was a good character. And I don't care if Leslie Headland is trying to force lesbianism into the Star Wars by having like a coven of witches that can create girls on their own without men. It doesn't bother me. In fact, it could be kind of cool, except that they didn't make it cool at all. They made it really bad. It was just a really bad written show. But I guess my main point to this entire thing is just that it saddens me that the majority of people who hate Disney Star Wars are also MAGA nutjobs. And you don't have to be a MAGA nutjob to hate Disney Star Wars. And if you are a MAGA nutjob, please don't talk about it while you're trashing Disney Star Wars, because you just make your own arguments look awful because you're a MAGA nutjob. Like, if you're an anti-vaxxer, good for you. Don't get the vaccine, and I hope you catch the virus. But don't bring it up. Don't ever bring it up, because you're dead. You're gone. Like, I'm going to cut you off. And a lot of people, anybody with a brain will. Personal anecdote. My uncle, who lives in Vancouver, British Columbia, was writing to my grandparents in Toronto. He and telling them that the vaccine was bogus, and the virus wasn't that bad, and he was encouraging them not to get vaccinated. And I told him off. I cut him off. I disowned him. I wrote to him and I said, you haven't been present in our lives for 40 years, and now you want to send us the virus? You're trying to spread the virus to my grandparents? You don't even remember to wish them happy birthday, and you want to spread the virus? No, F off. So if I can cut off my uncle, you can bet your ass I will cut off any MAGA nut who, even if they've got an entertaining YouTube channel, and even if they hate Disney Star Wars. So please shut up about your stupid political beliefs. But the problem is, you can feel the political beliefs because they just keep saying, "Oh, whoa, man, whoa," like all these slurs, and saying, you can feel that they're actually MAGA nut jobs, and that's when it poisons their channel for me. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. I mean, yeah, I didn't want the Little Mermaid to be black for very obvious reasons, meaning I'm an istaphobe. I want the Little Mermaid to be a hot redhead supermodel. Okay? Hot, white, redhead supermodel. But I never watched the movie, and I never will. And that's fine. The original cartoon was great. I've seen it a million times. And you know what else? There's plenty of white movies already for me to go to. So why not let movies be made with black people and with gay people and all those people, because they don't have a lot of their own content. So there's nothing wrong with that. I won't watch it, but maybe a lot of black people will. Maybe a lot of midgets will watch midget movies. Like, I don't know. Good for them. Like, who cares? I've had it easy. We've all had it pretty easy. When I say we've all, I mean white straight guys. We've all had it pretty damn easy for a very long time. And I got plenty of movies, plenty of content. It's just a shame that we can't unite in our hatred of Star Wars, of Disney Star Wars, and what they've done. Because a lot of these people are just MAGA nuts. And it's sad because I think we all hate Disney Star Wars for the same reasons. And unfortunately, I can't back these people who are voting for certain death come this November. And you know what? I mean, on a broader level, if humanity is so stupid that they believe that 2,000 years ago there was a guy with superpowers, 2024 years ago there was a guy with superpowers, then of course they would believe things like the virus wasn't real, or that, Trump is not a lying psychopath who only cares about himself. Nothing should surprise you. If you believe that guy had superpowers 2,000 years ago, of course you would believe the world is flat. Of course you would believe that the laws of physics don't work. Of course you wouldn't believe in science. Of course you would think that if you jump off a building you can fly. Gravity doesn't exist. And of course you should be locked up in a mental institution. And if that's the state of humanity right now, I don't think we deserve good movies. So let's wrap this up on a positive note. The Fandom Menace served its purpose. It gave Disney a swift kick in the ass. A kick that they're still feeling. They're still smarting from. And Disney Star Wars is a corpse. It's not on life support. It's dead. It's already been buried. The funeral's over. There's no resuscitating it. And I'm happy about it, because what they did with The Last Jedi, they deserve everything. They deserve all the wrath they're getting. And I'll even take the MAGA nut jobs. I'll take their side when they destroy Disney Star Wars, because you know what? I'll unite against a common foe. You don't do that to Luke Skywalker. You don't have him milking a cow. If you support gays, click like. If you respect blacks, comment. If you think women are people too, click the notification bell. And if you care about sick children, subscribe.